Last time, we discussed how to simplify radical expressions. This time, we're going to combine radical expressions by addition and subtraction. But not all the time we can combine radical expressions. In addition and subtraction, only similar radicals can be combined. And when we say similar radicals, they have the same index and at the same time, they have the same radicand. So examples of similar radicals, 3, the square root of 2, and 2, the square root of 2. So they are considered as similar radicals because they have the same index, which is 2, and the same radicand, which is 2. Another example is 2x, the cube root of 3xy, and 4x squared, the cube root of 3xy. They are similar radicals because they have the same index, which is 3, and the same radicand, which is 3xy. In adding and subtracting radicals, of course, we consider the given operation. Let's say the operation here is addition. So we simply add the expressions given before the radical sign. So 3 plus 2 is 5. Then we simply copy the index and the radicand. So we have 5 the square root of 2. So as simple as that. So let's have these examples. Number 1, 14 the square root of 5 minus 5 the square root of 5. So perform the operation. So we subtract 14 and 5, we get 9 the square root of 5. As simple as that. Let's try number 2. 9 the square root of 8 plus 2 the square root of 8. So we are asked to add these two radical expressions. So 9 plus 2 is 11, then copy the square root of 8. Now if you are going to look at the result, 11 the square root of 8, we can still simplify the square root of 8 because 8 has a factor that is a perfect square or has a square root. It's 4 times 2. And 4 has a square root which is 2. So the square root of 4 is 2. So copy 11, multiply it by the square root of 4 which is 2, then copy the square root of 2. So 11 times 2 is 22, then copy the square root of 2. So this is now the answer in number 2. Hanggat pwedeng masimplify yung radicand, dapat isimplify nyo. Okay? Number 3, negative the square root of 7 plus 3 the square root of 5 plus 9 the square root of 7 minus the square root of 5. So again, we can only combine those similar radicals. Alin kaya dito ang similar radicals? We can combine this first term and the third term. Also, we can combine the second term and the last term. So let's do it. Negative the square root of 7 plus 9 the square root of 7, we get what? Take note that this expression has 1 here. So what do you think is the sum of these two terms? Negative 1 the square root of 7 plus 9 the square root of 7, we get 8 the square root of 7. Because negative 1 plus 9 is 8. They are unlike signs. So we get their difference. Then copy the sign of the number that has a higher absolute value, which is 9. So since 9 is positive, the result is also positive. Then copy the square root of 7. Let's have 3 the square root of 5 minus the square root of 5. It's plus 2 the square root of 5. Kasi, again, merong 1 dito. So, we have 3 minus 1 is 2. That's why we have here 2. Then, copy the square root of 5. Can we still combine these two expressions? Can we add them? No, because they are not similar radicals. Yes, they have the same index, which is 2, but they have different radicands. Okay? So, this is now the answer. Let's try number 4. We have negative 5 the square root of 44 plus 2 the square root of 99. As you can see here, they are dissimilar radicals because they have different radicands, right? So, sa unang tingin nyo pa lang, sasabihin nyo ay hindi siya pwedeng i-combine. But, take note of this, there are dissimilar radicals. When simplified, you'll see that they can be combined. Merong mga dissimilar radicals na pag sinimplify mo yung each expression, pwedeng maging similar radical sila. So let's try this number 4. The radicand in the first term is 44. So let's simplify first the first term. We have negative 5, then try to simplify the square root of 44 by thinking of the factors wherein one of that factors has a square root. So what do you think? It's 4 times 11 because 4 has a square root. Okay? Next, copy 2. Then think of the factors of 99 wherein one of that factors has a square root. It's 9 times 11 because 9 has a square root. Okay, let's continue. Copy negative 5. Then what's the square root of 4? It's 2. So we multiply it here. Then copy 11 kasi wala naman siyang square root. Plus, copy 2. Then the square root of 9 is 3. So multiply it there. Then copy the square root of 11. Pag kinukuha nyo yung square root or cube root or kung ano pa man ng isang radicand, mapupunta na siya sa labas, di ba? And kung merong number sa labas ng radicand, you're going to multiply them. Just like what I did here. So let's continue. Negative 5 times 2 is negative 10. The square root of 11 plus 2 times 3 is 6. The square root of 11. Na-simplify na natin sila. Now look at the indices and the radicands ng first term and second term. The resulting expressions can now be combined because they are now similar radicals. So negative 10 plus 6 is negative 4, then copy the square root of 11. So this is now the answer in number 4. Let's try number 5. 8 the square root of 24 plus 3 the square root of 6 minus 4 the square root of 54. So sa unang tingin, sasabihin nyo, dissimilar radicals sila. But let's try to simplify each term first. So what is the simplified form of 8 the square root of 24? Think of the factors of 24 wherein one of that factors has a square root. It's 4 times 6, right? 4 times 6 is 24, wherein 4 has a square root. Then, let's have the second term. 3 the square root of 6. May isa-simplify pa ba si 3 the square root of 6? Look at the radicand. May factors ba ang 6 kung saan may square root yung isang factor? What are the factors of 6? 1 and 6 and 2 and 3. Wala naman dyang may square root, so just copy 3 the square root of 6. Let's have the third term. Minus 4 the square root of what? What are the factors of 54 wherein one of that factors has a square root? It's 9 times 6. 9 times 6 is 54, wherein 9 has a square root. So let's simplify. So what is the square root of 4? It's 2. So the square root of 2 will be multiplied by 8. So 8 times 2. Then copy the square root of 6. Plus, just copy the second term. Then simplify the last term. The square root of 9 is 3. So we're going to multiply the square root of 9, which is 3, by 4. Then copy the square root of 6. So 8 times 2 is 16. Copy the square root of 6 plus, copy the second term, minus 4 times 3 is 12. Then copy the square root of 6. So pare-parehas na yung index and radicand nila. So we can now combine them. 16 plus 3 minus 12 is 7. Then copy the square root of 6. So this is now the answer in number 5. Let's have number 6. The square root of 5x squared plus the square root of 20x squared. They are dissimilar radicals since they have different radicands. Let's try to simplify first each term para ma-check natin kung pwede ba silang makombine. Okay? So let's have the first term, the square root of 5x squared. So how are we going to simplify this? Meron bang factor si 5 na may square root? Wala. How about x squared? How do we simplify variables inside the radical sign considering its power? Diba, if the exponent of the variable of the radicand is divisible by the index, we simply divide that exponent of the radicand by the index. And since divisible naman na siya, hindi na natin kukunin yung factors ni x squared. So just copy 5x squared plus simplify the square root of 20x squared. Meron bang factor si 20 na may square root? Meron. It's 4 times 5. How about factors ni x squared? Just copy. Kasi divisible naman na yung exponent niya sa index. Okay? Wala namang square root si 5. So copy 5. Then x squared. Divide the exponent by the index. It's 1. So x raised to 1, so we put it outside the radical sign. Plus, the square root of 4 is 2. Mapupunta na siya sa labas. So we write here 2. Then, we can also get the square root of x squared, which is x raised to 1 because 2 divided by the index is 1. So x raised to 1 or simply x. Then matitira si 5 sa loob. Similar radicals na sila. So perform the operation x plus 2x, it's 3x because 1x plus 2x ay 3x. Then copy the square root of 5. So this is now the answer in number 6. I hope it's clear to you. Now let's try number 7. So let's try to simplify each term. 3, the fourth root of, wala namang factor si 5 na may fourth root, so just copy 5. Then how about x raised to 7? Is 7 divisible by 4? No, but we can get the factors of x raised to 7 wherein one of the exponents of that factor is divisible by 4. So we have here x raised to 4 times x raised to 3 because x raised to 4 times x raised to 3 is x raised to 7. If you can still recall, we simply add the exponents. So 4 is divisible by 4. Now let's have the second term. Minus x, then the fourth root of, what are the factors of 80? The factors of 80 wherein one of the factors has a fourth root are 16 times 5 because the fourth root of 16 is 2 because 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 is 16 times 5 it's 80. Next, x raised to 3. Can we still simplify this? Not anymore. Kasi once na mas mababa na yung exponent ng radical sa index, okay na yun. Ibig sabihin, nasa simplest form na siya. So, x raised to 3. So, let's simplify each term. Ang pwede nating ilabas dito ay x raised to 4 wherein 4 divided by 4 is 1. So, we have x raised to 1. So, 3 times x raised to 1 or x. Then, just copy 5 and x cubed. Minus, ang pwedeng ilabas natin dito ay sa 16. The fourth root of 16 is 2. So, we copy x, multiply it by the fourth root of 16 which is 2. Then, copy 5x raised to 3. Then, simplify this first. 3 times x is 3x. The fourth root of 5x cubed. Minus, x times 2 is 2x. The fourth root of 5x cubed. So, they have now the same index and radical. So, perform the operation. 3x minus 2x is 1x or simply x. Then, just copy the fourth root of 5x raised to 3. This is now the answer. Okay, I'll leave this last 3 items for you. You may answer this in your notebook and I'll just give you the answers maybe this afternoon or tomorrow. Okay? So, thank you for listening.